Hello and welcome to another episode of Big Innings on MLC Network. So good to be back with all of you guys here today. And it looks a little different today. There's a little bit of an event happening, much more important reasons to use the masjid that we typically record our shows in. So Baba, he scrambled everything together and got us ready to go ahead and start up here on a VMix call. And I'm always here with Nate Hayes. Nate, how you doing today, my man?
Doing great, and I just want to wish everybody happy Ramadan to all who observe. And this is, as you said, there are more important things happening, and we're happy to be joining you tonight.
Yeah, so good. Thank you guys for all the patience. I know we said initially 9:30, but just trying to figure out all the moving parts of this entire operation and get you guys the best possible product we can. And so we appreciate the patience that you guys showed. And please jump in the chat when you can and when you're available to. We are always here for the chat. We love that chat bar, and we love to utilize it in any way we can. So, we see you guys joining. So again, as you jump in, we'll try to get to as many comments and questions as we can about what was a really exciting World Cup campaign, Nate. I think when I look at this World Cup, there's a lot of things like from an associate level, from an American level that you like. Yes, some things left to be desired, but overall, I think a pretty positive campaign.
Yeah, not too bad. There were only 10 teams out of the 20 that won 2 games or more. USA was one of those teams. They were the only associate to win 2. We obviously would have liked a stronger performance from the associates. The games were good. There were a lot of really good close games between associates and full members. But as of today, with one left, we haven't yet seen that associate over full member upset that we really cheer for.
Yeah, no question. And so we'll see if we have Oman able to pull something out of the bag against Australia in their kind of reeling ways. Maybe this is the time that they can go out there and do that. Again, let us know your thoughts about this World Cup and the US's performance, associate performances, or anything about this World Cup in general. We are more than happy to talk about anything you guys put in the chat. But we did miss 2 USA games. We weren't able to do a live show on those 2 occasions. So we felt, okay, let's go over and recap those games. And we'll start with the game against the Netherlands from the USA, first one in Chennai. And you sit there, and I sit there and say, man, this was a day all about the return of Saimo Kamala and vengeance to Aaman Patel for his unbelievable rant that he had after Sai was dropped against Pakistan. 79 for him, Nate, to couple with Shubham Ranjade's 48.
Yeah, Asai, we were so shocked when he was left out of that Pakistan game. It was such a shame in our minds, and he really stood up. I mean, honestly, the top order did pretty well here, getting a good 140 of these runs or so. 79 coming from Sai out of off of 51. And then, unfortunately, Sanjay didn't click, but he didn't really need to in this one. Shubham came through with 48 from 24 himself. Really dominant all around performance from USA throughout this one.
Yeah, no question. Harmeet Singh takes 4 wickets, and Shadley van Schalkwijk just one short of a trifecta of 4 wicket hauls. I think that when you look at what you saw from Shadley, you got to be happy. And I think Milind Kumar probably had the best kind of emotion around it as well, didn't he? When he took that final catch, when Shadley took the 3rd wicket, he points straight at Shadley and says, "This is your world. This is your moment." And it was a World Cup for Shadley van Schalkwijk.
Oh my goodness! It couldn't, in a serious sense, it couldn't happen to a nicer guy. We all love Shadley. The whole country loves Shadley. He's got such a great fan base here. And Peter Della Penna hosted him on the Stars and Stripes cricket podcast and pointed out that Shadley's face is all over this World Cup because he's been leading in wickets from the very first game. So every time they show that graphic of the leading wicket taker, it's Shadley van Schalkwijk.
I love it. And again, it's so cool. And it could happen to a better human being. Ben, thank you so much for joining us in the chat. Ben2976. He's always on. He's always watching. He says, Oman, were the only team that didn't look up to standard. Yeah, I think Oman probably left a little bit on the table. They're very reliant on Jatinder Singh, but you did have good performances. You look at an Amir Kaleem and his half century that he had. I think Sufyan Mahmood had a couple of decent performances as well. So they had kind of bits and spurts but they would have liked to put together a better tournament, no question about it. And they've got one game to change all our minds. They beat Australia, and it was a very successful campaign straight away.
Yeah, if they can pull that off. I mean, right now they've got a. I mean, they've got the lowest net run rate differential in the entire tournament at less than 4, -4. Australia still has, even though they've only won one, they're still in the positive in net run rate differential. So yeah, it's all going to come down to, I think, how motivated are both of these teams. I don't think Australia is a type of team to kind of like hang their heads for too long. They play for pride too. And so it's going to be a tough one. It's going to be a pretty impressive. It would blow my mind if Oman could pull that off.
It would be unbelievable if that were to happen. Some more comments flooding in here. Andrew, he says, "What a handsome face for the face of world cricket." Yeah, Shadley van Schalkwijk. I mean, he keeps himself in great shape. He's always smiling. And my favorite thing to do with Shadley, and that's just a ritual because I know his answer every time I ask him the question. But you always say, "Shadley, how are you?" Right? And that's a normal question, nothing special. And his answer is perfect. He's like, "Good, mate. Always good. Life's too short to
Yeah,
not be good." And you hear that and you just smile. He just even makes you
yeah.
smile, and that's the kind of guy you want to be around. Smith Patel, thank you so much, Smith. Covering the World Cup, and now he's joining us here on Big Innings. Says, "Yo, what's up, Smith? Great to see all your reporting throughout the World Cup." And then you have Can't Hurt Me. I think that's what it says. Can't Hurt Me Q9K. What's your message to Team Australia? I don't know if they're going to be listening to many things from us, mate. I don't know if Australia wants to hear from us. Ricky Ponting said they have no aura. That's the reason that they are struggling, that they have no aura in this World Cup. I don't know. I think Nathan Ellis has got plenty of aura. I think Travis Head's got plenty of aura. They just don't think maybe all the right selections and didn't really put everything together. I think they would. There's a lot they would look back on.
Well, I gotta hand it to Adam from the John Boy cricket. That's cricket. He actually picked Zimbabwe to finish ahead of Australia. He didn't pick
Yeah.
Australia to finish through the group stage. I did. I was wrong. But yeah, maybe lacking a little bit of that aura this time around.
Yeah. Smith Patel says, "Shadley told me today is the biggest game of my life in the morning of the India game in the hotel lobby." That's so cool. That's insane. I love that from
Yeah.
Shadley. He's talking about himself or you, Smith. I think it could be both ways. I don't know which one he would have been talking to, who had the bigger game. But no, cool either way from Shadley. He's, again, tremendous human. Tremendous to see him continue to make strides and make a name for himself. Let's move into the second game that we missed. It's the Namibia game. And this one, again, had equally as cool kind of stats to go with it. Monik Patel, the captain, finally cashes in. Finally opened the batting, did it in the last couple of games. Thought that's where he'd be the entirety of the World Cup. But to me, the story of the game was Sanjay Krishnamurti, the 22-year-old, 68 off of 33, scoring a half century, his first at a strike rate over 200. I mean, Nate, it was just special to watch.
Oh, absolutely. Very, very special. And it was one of those games I kind of thought, because we saw it was such a good batting wicket, I thought that USA was going to have to put up well over 200. They got right just about at it with 199. But phenomenal stuff from Sanjay, striking at 206 across 33 balls for 68 runs, 6 sixes. We saw Major League Cricket version of Sanjay Krishnamurti. It was only a matter of time. He keeps that focus on the strike rate so well, so that when he does click, you're going to get a big one.
Yeah, and I think also he just understands the situation very well. He understands what the team needs. I think you go back to that India game that Patel's talking about. You watch the way he was batting. He understood we need one boundary in the over and try to knock your way to 10. And he was trying to chugging along that pace and kept us in the game while he was still batting. And Smith Patel says such was the deathly silence in Wankhede during those 40 minutes that the players were saying the only voice they could hear coming out of the stadium was the USA Family Box. And that's such a cool moment. We'll talk about those cool moments here in a bit as well,
Yeah.
because that's one of the moments of the World Cup for sure, no doubt about it. Speaking of moments of the World Cup in 2024, we got to see the World Cup head to New York and cricket head to New York. Try Hard Trav says, we need MLC in NYC, please. Well, let's see if we can get some facility and some infrastructure there. We would love to see the MLC make its way to the Northeast and bring cricket back up there.
Would absolutely love to. Definitely, probably one of the hardest places in the whole continent to try to get something like this would be New York City. But yeah, I mean, how phenomenal would that be?
It'd be incredible, and I think you got Steve Smith who's played one major league already. I think he's going to come back at some point and play, at least try to. He always wanted to play cricket in New York. He didn't get to do it in the World Cup, and so I'm sure he'll would be chomping at the bit to do it in Major League Cricket. Speaking of great batters, though, Nate, let's talk about the USA top batting performances that we had. The top three batters at the World Cup statistically, by far and away, big margin here. Shobham Ranjane led the whole way for the tournament. 4 innings, 141 runs, average of 71, and a strike rate of 181. That's eerily similar to what he did at Major League this past year. So great to see him carry that into the international flow. And then followed by the two youngsters, Nate. I love that fact. Sanjay and Sai following in second and third.
100%. I mean, you can't say enough about how great Shubham was throughout this tournament. And really gutsy too. He was banged up. He was definitely hurting after that the first innings of the India match. It's a little bit disappointing that we're looking here after 4 games and our third leading run scorer has 98 runs. It's great, fantastic that our second and third leading run scorers are these youngsters moving forward. When you consider the overall age of the team, especially.
Yeah, no question. I think that you look at the takeaways and the youngsters performing, they didn't get a chance in the last World Cup, right? Simon Kamala was part of the reserves. And so you're sat there thinking, man, it would just be great to give him this opportunity. He got it. He took it with both hands, even after I thought they did him a little bit dirty in game number 2. But I've settled that qualm. We've put it together a half century. And then right outside of that, Manik Patel and Milind Kumar were the next 2 leading batters. But I thought Shayan Jahangir, who maybe just didn't have the same number of innings, actually probably batted a touch better than both of them throughout the competition. I thought he was sensational against Pakistan, played with a great strike rate, and I thought atop the order was brilliant.
Didn't really give us a stinker of a performance with the bat. He gave us good productivity. Carrying over that good form that he brought from franchise cricket. And that raises a lot of questions about the team going forward. But it was nice in the 2 wins we got. We kind of did stick to our MO, which is top order batting usually comes through for USA. Going into the tournament, we said we were very confident about the batting of this team. Little worried about the bowling, about the bowling balance. We were also worried about the batting balance as far as left-right combinations. But yeah, it was a pleasant surprise to see exactly how well the bowlers did. Obviously, we've always believed in our spinners, but it was great to see Ali Khan kind of bounce back too.
Brilliant. And you take a look at the chat as well. Joe Hickey, great to see you in there, Joe, friend of the show, says, heck yeah, time to build the 2-time champs a home. Yeah, I'm sure Emma New York, you win it twice, you got to have a home, right? You've got to have a home to hang the banners. I think that's the next step. Hang the banners in the home stadium. That'd be so cool. Smith Patel says, expect Bubru to have a boss soon. ICC expected to appoint a USA director of cricket sort of role. Not the exact terminology, but you know what I mean. So Smith Patel seemingly always has a scoop for us. And here you go. There's another one fresh from Smith Patel there. Sana, great to see you in the chat. She joined in right as we're talking about Cheyenne, and rightfully so. She says, hell yeah. And hell yeah, indeed. Cheyenne was brilliant in the tournament. Probably asked a couple of questions that we maybe didn't have prior to the tournament that we'll get into in a bit. And then Apurv, good to see you as well, says, do you think the USA can play Test cricket soon? I think can and will are 2 very different questions. I think there's the skill at some point in this country to play Test cricket? Yes. Do I think there will ever be a situation where the money, facilities, and all the other factors will make sense to play Test cricket? No. I don't see us ever becoming a full member that plays red ball cricket. I think if we ever become a full member nation, quote unquote, it would be as a white ball full member, which there's been a lot of talks of doing that a lot more with some of the associates.
Yeah, and the biggest thing is we don't have a first class system. We just don't have a red ball system here in the USA. I think, we might work towards some of that, especially I think it would be great. It would be a great thing for the younger players who are developing. I mean, who doesn't want to play red ball cricket when you're young, when you're in your, late teens, early 20s and stuff? I think that's when it's most advantageous. But right now the bread is buttered with T20. And, it might be a bigger problem than it is a help to focus on red ball cricket right now in this country.
Yeah, and so we keep carrying that conversation. Smith Patel said Johnny Grave wants to play. He said to me on the record, and yeah, I think that there's
Yeah,
plenty of ambition to want to play. I don't think that's a unique thing from Johnny. I think there's a lot of people who want to
yeah,
play red ball cricket. I just think is there that real opportunity? Is it really feasible to play
yeah,
red ball cricket? I think that's the big question. You talk about a team like
yeah,
Ireland who has had full member status for a while now. They almost like there's a conversation like, were we better off as an associate because you didn't have to force that one test match in there that kind of sucks in a lot of our funds. But at the same time, we get that bigger piece of the pie. So there's all those
yeah.
conversations, and I think that there's a lot beyond just do we want to play test cricket in the States.
Well, I think if you leave it up to Johnny and Zubin, I think we'll have red ball cricket for sure. If you leave it up
Oh,
to
I
those
think
two
Johnny
guys,
Zewitt would be the first to get there and play red ball cricket. I think there's also some great ideas in the chats as well. Try Hard Trav says even a home in New Jersey, like the Jets and the Giants. Yeah, I think there's plenty of ways to get creative. You don't have to be right in Central Park or Staten Island and company. You can send it down a little bit. You say can't hurt me. Said we missed Ali Khan against Pakistan. Absolutely. We'll talk about how great Ali was through this tournament as well.
agreed.
Get into that. That's kind of I think one of our big takeaways. And then we keep moving. Sana says, my ears are burning about when she heard about Shahan Jahangir. And then she says, can American attention span handle that? Talking about test cricket. She says, probably not.
Sure.
I would disagree. I think that, you watch, I think the hardcore baseball fans, like I go to baseball games with a lot of my buddies from college, and they're sitting there, they're scoring the baseball game. Like, it's
Yeah.
impressive what they're doing. And I genuinely think that there isn't enough credit given to the American audience for the attention span if they understand the game. I think first off, it's just getting
Yeah.
them to understand it, and then from there, I think they're going
Right.
to watch whatever you throw at them.
And I'll tell you what, I think the multi-day game is the unlimited overs game, so to speak, is I think easier to explain to people.
Mm-hmm.
It's to me it's one less layer. You just say, hey, look, everybody bats twice, you get everyone out. You got to get 20 wickets to win the game. Everyone understands that in baseball. In baseball, you need 27 outs to win. It's a similar kind of concept. You don't have the limited overs to explain to people. Also, a lot of people here watch golf, and baseball is
Yeah,
played in series. Yeah, and baseball's played in series. When a team goes to visit another team, they play a best of they don't play a best of three. They play a 3-game or a 4-game, sometimes even a 5-game series. And I don't think it's that much different. Obviously, it's a longer day, but I think it would be it would be a lot of fun to see. But yeah, getting people into cricket in general is the important thing, regardless of what the format is.
Yeah, no question. And so as we keep heading down, Joe Hickey says this American for sure. Absolutely. He's up at all hours of the day to watch Test cricket. Ben says hopefully the performances of the emerging nations have put a lot of their players on the franchise radar. A couple just will scoop us a little bit. I think Yuvraj Samra and Dipender Singh Airi have done a great job of that alongside Shivam Ranjane. We'll get more into them in a bit. Andrew says Americans can follow multi-day golf tournament or playoff series. They can follow a test match. Absolutely agree. And then Smith Patel says Indian people follow test cricket through scorecards and highlights. It's not just about watching it live. That's how you monetize
Sure.
as well. Absolutely. So there's many different ways to make it happen. So it's not that, I think there's definite conversations. There's definite pros to doing it. It's just, is it a feasible option, or is it something that maybe 10, 15, 20 years down the road? That's something that we'll have to wait and see. But let's go and take a look at our bowlers of the tournament, because we looked at the batters. We talked about these are the batters that was the side we weren't too concerned about. The bowling, however, this was like who's going to stand up, especially from the pace department. And Shadley van Schalkwyk leads the entire comp in wickets through the group stage. 4 innings, 13. Look at the economy and the strike rate. The average is right there as well. I mean, this guy has had the absolute most incredible tournament.
Yeah, every game. He just didn't stop. He was relentless. Incredible figures from him. Harmeet also tremendous, especially towards the end of the tournament there. And Mohsin, just so economical as a leggy, and his ability to speed through the overs. And we've always talked about how quickly he sorts out the wicket, how quickly he sorts out how he's going to bowl to a batter. And, he gets through his overs in no time. You're not going to have that over penalty by going over time. as long as he's in your squad, you're getting 4 speedy overs from him, especially with all the dots that he threw up there.
And I think he diagnoses things so quickly. Like you said, he's very reactive to the surface. So he can come in with plan A and he's so ready to get to plan B. He can do it in a flip of a switch. And I think you look at, I think this past minor league is maybe the best example of that. He had so much major league success because he was quicker through the air, right? And that's what works there. Then you look at what happens in minor league, and Sarjit Ludda is great there because it's slower. And so Mosin first over goes for a couple of runs. Says, all right, let me just slow it down a little bit. Takes 3 wickets right away. So here, this guy is unafraid and has the skill set to make those changes. I think that's such a huge win for the USA, and to get that leg spinner position down, that's been a huge need and desire for the USA team for a long time.
100%. And you mentioned Sarjit Lada. If you ever want to see a juxtaposition of leg spin bowling styles, you got watch the Baltimore Royals in minor league cricket, where you've got Mosin just speeding through his overs, and Lada, kind of taking his time. He may as well have a 50-yard run up there sometimes, as far as his the time he takes in between the overs. The juxtaposition is insane, and you will notice so much about each bowler, each of the two of them, when they're bowling together.
Nate, I tell you what, every week every time we have a show, you make great points, but you always get some kind of comment in the chat about your appearance. And Smith Patel might have taken the cake today. He might have taken the cake. He says Nate is the Anil Kapoor of American cricket. Hasn't aged since 2018. Now, I'm not sure if you've ever seen. Yeah, Google it. You can do it right now. I saw the tab switch. Google Anil Kapoor. Brilliant. Because Sana says, "LOL." I was trying to figure out who is Nate looking like today. The facial hair matches for sure. Can't hurt me. I like that as well. So Smith, you've got a couple fans. I'm a big fan of that. Nate, what's your verdict now that you're seeing Anil there?
Gonna have to watch some of these. I appreciate that comment. Probably, honestly, that was the nicest thing anyone's ever said.
So. You like that better than the Harry Potter?
Professor? Oh yeah. This one takes the cake. This one takes the cake for sure. With the
PJ, you've been outdone. I don't know if you're there, PJ, but you've been outdone.
You can't. Hey, someone tells you that you're ageless. That's a great thing to hear, especially when you're 45.
Nate, genuinely, I don't know if you've aged a single day since I was 12 years old. To be honest with you, like it's been 10 years that we've known each other, and I don't know if you've gotten any older. To be quite frank with you, there you go.
It's 11 years. It's been 11 years. I must have been a rough looking 40.
No. The other way. Smith Patel continues to give us some context. Mohsin and Usman Tariq had breakfast together every day, going by both of their performances. Don't know who was guiding whom. Yeah, I mean, both were terrific. I think I go back to that Usman Tariq delivery against Namibia. Jeez Louise, there's that one ball that just kept coming back in. And you could see batter's ready to play like a square drive, and he's like, oh, crap, last second, just come back, and he has no time to get the bat down. Both are brilliant in this World Cup, and both have pretty similar stories just of perseverance to get to that World Cup.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen Usman Tariq here in the U.S. too, in some of the domestic stuff. Atlanta, in the Atlanta Open, we saw him down there. How cool was that? Straight out of the CPL too, and that's only going to help us seeing guys like that in these tournaments. It's only going to help our batters. Who knows what he would have done if we hadn't seen him before.
No question. And so coming off of this World Cup, obviously the campaign ended after Pakistan really manhandled Namibia thanks to Farhan's 100, and he's been absolutely sensational in this World Cup. Was not one of the guys that many people were talking about, I think, as one of Pakistan's premier batters, and I think after this you're gonna hear his name more and more in conversations. But let's go through some of the takeaways that we have coming out of this World Cup. And it's just some of the things that I wanted to put down on paper. I thought Shadley's success, obviously, kind of the big overarching one, him leading the way with all the wickets that he took. The spinners were great in this tournament. Shubham Ranjane, the star batter, kind of making his T20I debut. And then the youngsters coming good. I'm such a fan of seeing the 21, the 22-year-old have that success because it just sets you up for the future. And then I sit there, we're one catch away, and that gave Wankhede 40 minutes of silence, gave the whole world 40 minutes of the USA are going to beat India. That's something that wouldn't have happened 4 years ago, even 2 years ago. I don't think there are many people that would have believed it in that. And Nate, there's so many great things that happened throughout this World Cup.
Yeah, I mean, going back to what you said, 2 years ago, everybody was blaming the Wicked in New York for any type of close game against any between any full member and associate. Everybody was blaming the low scoring games, and yeah, you have a better chance of winning a low scoring game if you're an underdog. But this was USA's statement game. That game
Yeah,
against India, yeah, we lost, but we took them right to the brink. And if it hadn't been for, in my opinion, the best batter in the entire world, we would have won that
sure.
game. It was just incredibly impressive. Uh, some bad luck happened in that game too. We had some injuries in that first innings that carried over into the bowling and carried over for the rest of the tournament. But I gotta say, Ali Khan looked absolutely fantastic in the games that he played in this World Cup. It's like going back 5 years with Ali Khan right now. Like he's in the
Yeah.
first over bowling 89 miles an hour, and this is the Ali Khan that we're used to seeing. And it's great to see him hit the stride like that. Who knows what would have happened if we had him for more of the tournament?
Yeah, I think that Pakistan game could have gone a little bit differently. He's such a difference maker when he's on, and he was on song, and I think we all kind of saw it coming with kind of Major League Cricket and how he's getting back into rhythm, and so it was brilliant there. Ben comes out and says, "I'd be disappointed if Mohsin, Sanjay, Shadley, and Sai weren't looked at by the BBL franchises, but the BBL is a bit closed-minded. Well, they have taken Americans in the past. Hassan Khan obviously has gone and played a couple of seasons now. You had, Unmukt Jan to become the first Indian descent player to go and play in the BBL. That's after he came to the States. So they have looked there. There's obviously that kind of connection with the Major League franchises as well. So I wouldn't be surprised to see, especially a Sanjay, be headed over there, because also I look at a Sanjay Krishnamurti and that kind of emerging league that happened down in the Caribbean last year. He was part of the Cricket Victoria group. So that'd be really cool to
Right.
see that. And I think not just in BBL, but to see Cheyenne Jahangir go out and play and maybe get picked up in the 100. Who knows? A lot of them got picked up in the PSL, which was really cool. You have 5 different Americans picked up by the Kingsman franchise. Yes, those Kingsmen of Chicago got a team in the PSL, the Hyderabad Kingsmen, and they've also announced they're going to have a CPL franchise as well, the Jamaica Kingsmen, Nate. So maybe some Americans walk into both of those sides.
That's it. That's it. It's just the Jamaica Kingsman.
I don't know if
That's
it's going
it.
to be the Jamaica Kingsmen. I don't know if that's the name, but that I saw the
I
graphics
mean, I
at
mean,
Jamaica
it's just
Kingsmen and Handshake.
just one. I'm just saying the other team names are long. Like that's a short one. Jamaica Kingsman. It doesn't have Houston in it. It doesn't have any other cities. That's impressive.
Well, I think it'd be really cool. I'm really excited to see what's in store. Sana says USA versus India was unbelievable. What a treat! Absolutely incredible. Ben said as was Italy versus England. That that was so cool. Italy versus England was great because Italy was in that game to the last couple of overs, and for a moment I thought Italy is gonna do it. Italy's gonna do it
Yeah.
again, and that was unbelievable. Sana makes the muscle emoji and says associates and says, "What a nonchalant Sanjay about his top cricket experiences." Yeah, that would be maybe like top five, or top six, maybe. Yeah, Sanjay is he's that kind of guy, right? No moment's too big for him. You see it the way he bats, goes about everything. He's just cool, calm, collected. That's why he's such an experienced and great captain as a youngster. Wouldn't be surprised to see him lead the country at some point in his time playing for the Stars and Stripes.
For sure, absolutely. As you said, it's good to have a couple of young guys stand out in this tournament. Sanjay, obviously, and the thing is, they're doing exactly what we expect them to do. They're
Yeah,
not like blowing our minds, like, oh my gosh, where have these guys been? This is exactly who they are.
absolutely. But talking about the youngsters, right? You have to look at this USA team. The World Cup is over for them. What's next, right? Where do you go from here? Let's have a look at. Trust me, can't hurt me. We will be talking about that. It's in here. I promise. It's in the run. This is the rundown of our show, ladies and gentlemen. This is what we look at every week. So if you got any good glimpse of that, there you go. But promise, it's in there. We'll be talking about Yuvraj Chandra here in a sec. But I want to talk about the future of the USA team. And there's a couple of players and their positions that might be a little bit up in the open. I want to start with this here, especially about the batting, because there's two guys that just sit there and I think, they might be having question marks for different regions. And it's Andres Jose and it's Milind Kumar. And the reason I say this is I think Milind Kumar had a World Cup that he would probably want to forget. I know he finished as our fourth leading run scorer, but he wasn't fluent in that classic Milind Kumar way. He wasn't that same guy that we would come to expect after the ODI performances he's had. And so you sit there thinking Shubham Ranjane is batting brilliantly in the middle order. So is Shayan Jahangir. Those two seem pretty. So is Sanjay Krishnamurti. Those two seem pretty set there. And then Shayan Jahangir is batting brilliantly, right? Opening the batting. And that goes into your Andres Kraus as well. Where is Andres Kraus fit? Is Shayan going to be a permanent opener? Or is that Andres' spot still? And does that mean Shayan's going to move into the middle order again? And so does that displace Milind Kumar out of the team? I really think that's a tough question there. And if you guys notice on the graphic, you said your logo here. We're looking for sponsors, guys. If you want to sponsor and you want to get a chance to get your logo on the MLC Network, we are more than willing. Please hit us up. I'm at AP Sports News _ on Instagram and Twitter. That's at CrickFan USA. That's Nate over here on this side. Hit us up in both places, and we can work something out.
Yeah, absolutely. Get your logo on our stuff. Come on, it'll be great. But yeah, you make some good points though, Aaman. We knew Shea was in great form coming into this World Cup. He got a chance at the top. He performed at the top. Andres had some health issues. I believe he had some illness, which kept him out of the team there. Now, typically, you're not going to sit on Andres, but it happened as Shea got his chance at the top. We thought Shea was coming in anyways. We thought he was going to come in and maybe bat where he has in the past some. Number 6, 7 type of area. We know he's a good finisher and we know he's capable of doing that. This just points out to me that our home product is getting better and better. When we have these types of questions, when we have these types of discussions and controversies, so to speak. And I think we're only going to have more of these. This is what separates the full members from the associates oftentimes, is how deep is your domestic system, and ours is getting deeper and deeper, and this is an exciting thing.
Yeah, no question. And we keep looking in here. I'm going to get back to all the summer stuff later because, again, we have that scheduled in here. So we're not ignoring the comments that are talking about that. Kapil Borana says, Milind Kumar, worst player I see AWER, so anywhere, I reckon. I'm not going to sit there and say that. He's had some great runs with USA colors. He's our best ODI batter by far. You talk about his average and the runs that he scored. There's no question. It's just, I think, Nate, for the first time in maybe American cricket history, we're getting to a point where we can almost specialize cricketers, right? We can say, Milind, you're an ODI bat for us, right? And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with just being a one format batter. And if that's like Smith Patel, the wicketkeeper batter, not the one in the comments. He's really been an ODI cricketer for us. He hasn't made his T20 move. So that's something that I think could be done with Milind Kumar here.
I totally agree with you. In fact, Milind would be one of the first names on the sheet for me on an ODI side. And, he's performed well in T20 as well, just outside of World Cups. And, I mean, look, we've seen Milind do some of the most amazing things we've ever seen any cricketer do on a cricket field. Down there in the Atlanta Open this year, he had one of the best games I've ever seen anyone have, and that was against a very, very good team, a team that's closely affiliated with the Houston, Chicago, Hyderabad, Kingsmen. You know what I'm saying? It's so we've seen him do tremendous things. And like you said, we've done not a great job in the past of specializing our teams. That's evident in the fact that Nitish Kumar couldn't get in the ODI squad when he's probably one of our very best ODI players, but he was in the T20 squad for some reason. Sure. In the future, I think we're going to have no choice but to specialize because the stakes will just be too high.
Yeah, Sana brings up a great point. On the flip, Ali Khan only plays T20. So we do it, and I think that's something that's got to be done with with Milind Kumar. I think he's got to make the move to just being an ODI cricketer, not because he can't play, because I think that's the way it is. He's brilliant in the field. I love him as a fielder. He's made some of our greatest catches, and he's a gun. But I think he's got to be an ODI because I think Ben hit it on the head. USA has to find a spot in their 11 for Kraus. He's been our best batter for a long period of time, and he's going to continue to be that. He's got to be in this team, Nate. And for me, Shea's batting so well, and I hate the idea of taking him off of his spot. But if Monarch's going to continue to be in this team and open, Sai's going to be at 3. I think he supplanted himself there. Kelsey to me is best in the opening spot. Shea can bat at 4 or 5 or 6 and still be equally as effective.
Yeah, in this format for sure. And I think it's great to have these options. It's great to have that position covered if you have an injury, or if you have a guy that gets sick. Andres missed the games, and we didn't lose a beat up top because we have Shea, and that's
Yeah.
tremendous. That's a tremendous luxury to have. It's something we haven't really had before. We haven't really had this kind of a depth in our system before, but it is an older depth.
Yeah, no question. There's one more here I want to talk about. Sana says, "Hey, well, I feel you, but that's my team now. We can just call him the Hyderabad Kingsmen." So she's happy with just the
Gotcha.
one name.
I'm going to cheer for him. I'll
Yeah,
be
Shine
cheering for
Jahangir
them.
gets picked up there.
Absolutely.
Syed Saad Ali, Hamad Azam, Hassan Khan. So they'll all be representing that PSL side. I want to look at this as well because I think there's a bowling question as well. Shadley van Schalkwijk and Jesse Singh, again, for different reasons. Jesse Singh comes into the World Cup as the vice captain of the side, but Shadley van Schalkwijk is by far and away the guy to play as the third seam bowler. You look at the stats; it's all about what you see from Shadley, and this World Cup I think cements that. I know the age is your concern, but he's still better with the bat. I think he has more options with the ball. Jesse's improved on that fact for sure, but I think that as you continue to look at this, this is a question for me as well, Nate. Is Jesse Singh a long-term solution in the bowling 11, or is Shadley van Schalkwijk the guy you're going to go with?
Both of these guys incredibly resilient. We talk a lot about Shadley's ability to bounce back, and he never had to bounce back this whole tournament. He was just on fire the entire time. We never got to see a Shadley have a bad game and then come back with a good game. He just had nothing but good games. And
Yeah.
Jesse's always in the equation. He's always in the equation. He's always in the talk, as he should be. He's not going to go anywhere. He's not going anywhere as far as being in the equation. I think we don't have a lot of fast bowlers in their late 20s, maybe at where you would consider like the peak of their career. And I think that works in Jesse's favor for at least the next couple of years. But there's going to come a time when the Rashil Ugarkars, you can't leave them out of a squad. I feel like he should have been in the squad this time. But it's an interesting question. It's a very interesting question. I don't know if we're going to get the kind of performance we got from Shadley ever again from anybody.
Yeah, it was remarkable. And Apurav says I think Shadley over Jesse. I think right now that's a fair point. But then Smith says right underneath it, 39 can be too old for a pace bowler, and that transitions just beautifully because we sat there talking about Shadley's 37. Just take a look at some of the ages that we're looking at on this USA team, because when we talk about what's next, you're looking at the T20 World Cup in 2 years. Yes, there's an ODI one in between that, but 2.5 years. Smith Patel just says in the comments, remember, the next World Cup will be 2.5 years away. The U.S. average age right now, including two guys who are under the age of 23, is 32. You got guys like Jesse Singh, Monank Patel, Ehsan Adil, Shayan Jaisuriya, Nash Kinjige, Ali Khan, Saurabh Netravalkar, Shadley van Schalkwijk, Harmeet Singh, all of whom are above the age of 33. That's a big chunk of your team that is really pushed up there. And you talk about they're going to be 35 plus come the next World Cup. Are they still going to be in that sweet spot, that prime of their career?
Yeah, and outside of the two youngsters that are under the age of 23, the third youngest guy on this team is almost 30 years old. That's Mohamed Mohsen. He's got the longest beard on the team, and he's the third youngest guy.
We did round up for all the ages, by the way. If you're sitting there saying, "Oh, well, I thought Mohsen was 29," we did round up.
We rounded up if they were more than 183 days into the year, we rounded up to the next year. We're looking towards the next World Cup and things like that. And the biggest question to me with the age is the fast bowling, and who do we have waiting in the wings at that position? We've got some great young bowlers. Aaman, we've got along with Rashil Ugarkar, we got Aryan Nadkarni, Ayn Desai, Arya Garg, Ridvik Abadi, who we did an interview with on back on our channels, on the BigInnings channels. And then you've got obviously Brody Couch down there in the BBL down there in Australia, who plays for San Francisco. But these guys are very young. Brody Couch 26. He's the oldest of that group. Everybody else is under 23.
That's the one, though, for me, Nate. Brody Couch. He's the one guy that possesses this raw pace. He's 26. In 2 years, he'll be entering the prime height of his career. Ali Khan, he's going to be 37 years old. At 37, is he going to be hitting 89? That's a real question, right? Like that's something that you want to answer. So
Right.
that's a guy I would have on every single squad, because he's the one guy that I know possesses that raw pace at the age that he is. I see Smith Patel in the comments talking about, we also need to talk about Saurabh's speeds. They're declining by the day. I think Saurabh Netravalkar has earned the right to play himself out of the team. Even in this World Cup, I know against Suryakumar Yadav, he was poor. But everywhere else, I thought he was still presenting great challenges. He's got great skill. He's done it long enough, well enough to where I think you can give him the leash to say, all right, you can play yourself out. And if there's periods of point, then you have to go. But I don't think you're just going to say, all right, you know what, and just in the hopes of 2 years, we're just going to take you out now.
Yeah, I agree with you. And then if you do replace him, he not only is he our best bowler over the last 8 years or so for USA, but he's a left-handed bowler, and that's a big plus. And after him, you've got Abhishek Pardkar, in 25 years old, somebody who keeps getting better and better and better. So we do have a few options. Just it's tough to find that group from age 23 to age 31 or so. As far as fast bowlers goes, it's not, there's not a lot there to choose from right now.
Yeah, the guys that kind of on the precipice of that, like Calvin Savage, who's just, I think he's 32 or 33 now. You look at a Justin Dill, who's 31, a Carmine LaRue, who's 32. Those guys in the next World Cup would still, you'd say, have good time left. And so you can utilize that, but you want to be able to build for that future. So you're looking at that young core. And Ben, he's got a rogue name out there for you. You might have to bring in young Jake Storiali. He's put his own name forward for USA selection. You know what? We're a fan of John Boy. We're a fan of the Warehouse Games here on BigInnings. And I think Jake would be a fine addition to any team he could be a part of.
You know what? He might not have that classic fast bowler build. But
he's a bit more.
He's gritty. He's gritty.
Kyron Pollard build, though. And Kyron Pollard can get it done. He can bowl the cutters.
Kyron Pollard, yeah. I mean, sure. We'll go with that. I think
straight rush Kyron Pollard build. I'd say maybe not in the height department, but the kind of the broadness of it. I think that makes sense.
Yeah, I think Jake's got the edge though. If you bring shorts into cricket, short pants, he's got the edge. Jake's gonna make a debut for sure. That's all we got to do. Just uniform has to be shorts.
Has to be shorts. All right. I love it. I can get behind that. Maybe not. I don't think I could do cricket in shorts, to be honest with you. But maybe that's just the hater in me. Smith Patel says Rochelle had a fever and diarrhea night before his fifer. Yeah, again, this is a kid who's brilliant and can absolutely get it done. So to me, he's going to be a part of the squad. If I was selecting, he'd be a part of the squad. 15. Yep, Rochelle Garkar, his name's in there, and I'm getting him as much experience as I can because here's a guy who could be my second or third bowler come the next World Cup. Apurv says, yeah, Saurabh, I can never complain about him. Like I said, I just think he has the right. I think he's earned the right to play himself out. There's some guys who do it. I think Justin Boomer could have a poor 3 years, and you would say he earns the right to play himself out. And I think that's Pat Cummins the same way, right? And it's like, why are you throwing him in conversation with Pat Cummins? Well, he took 100 ODI wickets in the same time frame as Pat Cummins. It took the same number of innings as Pat Cummins did. So that's why he has literally the same kind of stats. So that's the kind of bowler you're talking about there. And then Yetra 1000 says, create new tournament like Asia Cup called the America Cup with West Indies and set up U19 and A team. Yeah, would love to do more things like that. I think the Audi Cup to play Canada more often would be great. You saw the North American Cup take place where they got a lot more of the teams in the North American region. I would love to see the Windies though a part of some of these just to give that kind of experience, even if it's like a Windies A team or teams that come to tour. The Windies go and play against USA and then do that on a warm-up series.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I mean, look, we're going to get some very important games, some games with serious context against Canada. And let me tell you, when that has happened over the last decade, we've had some real barn burners. We've had some amazing games against Canada. In fact, I've said it so many times, but probably the three best T20s I've ever seen were Canada versus USA. Those are going to matter now because USA is going to have to get through a regional qualifier to make the next World Cup. They're going to have to beat Canada. It's going to be a lot of fun to see it, and I want some Howdy Cups here in the meantime.
Yeah, and I think many people are going to say, oh, the USA should just walk all over Canada. It's not a guarantee, right? Like there are people who say, oh, yeah, the USA has been the better team for the past 8 years. Maybe we have. Maybe we've been the better team for the past 5 years. But I'm not going to think about the 2024 World Cup, right? Like we had just beaten them 5-0 in a warm-up ODI series. And come the World Cup time, we had to score nearly 200 runs chasing, and it took maybe the most unbelievable innings from Aaron Jones to get that done, right? And so that's the kind of thing that we normally have to see to beat a team like Canada.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, like all of those games are tremendous games. Again, they know each other so well. It doesn't matter if USA's if one's in Division 5 and the other one's in the Cricket World Cup League 2. Their games are going to be ridiculous. So I look forward to those. I know I'll be I'll probably lose a couple years of my life watching them, but I do look forward to them.
Yeah, absolutely. Betty Spaghetti says, "Hey, Nate, Nate, you got a fan looking for you there. Let's go ahead and move on to talking about Canada because, God, Yuvraj Samra. I mean, this is the guy that's taken the cricket world by storm. I remember seeing him play in Florida last year and thinking, wow, this kid is special. Yuvraj Samra, 19 years of age, becomes the youngest Centurion in the history of the T20 World Cup. Off of just 65 deliveries, scores 110 against New Zealand at a strike rate of 169 with Danny Morrison on the call. I mean, could it get much better than that? And he's won the hearts of, I think, so many people who are starting to talk about Canadian cricket because you see Ricky Ponting say, oh, this kid's going to be playing all these franchise leagues. And I'm hoping he has some insider information there because I would love to see Yuvraj Samra doing that. And, I think, he's talking about people in the chat talking about Yuvraj Samra as well. What a talent he is. And then Can't Hurt Me says, for sure, he is IPL material. I mean, he could play in any league in the world. You actually had the great call out before the World Cup. And you called him Canada's Sai Mukamala. And I think that's a great pull from you.
Yeah, I think that was on the Emerging Cricket podcast. Check that out wherever you listen to podcasts. Definitely subscribe to the Emerging Cricket podcast. Get your alerts there. Aaman, I think we're going to join them soon to wrap up this, just like we're doing here. But yeah, Yuvraj, my goodness. I mean, I think one of the easiest things to call leading into this World Cup was that this guy is going to impress people. That was one of the easiest things that we've ever had to kind of like predict. And my goodness, has he ever?
He was special. I mean, that innings against New Zealand, against that bowling attack, everyone knows the story of how this kid was named after Yuvraj Singh and all this stuff now. And I mean, it was so cool. It was so cool to see that story capture the hearts of so many people because that's associate cricket. And for whatever reason, it hasn't been given the respect, the spotlight it deserves. And I think this World Cup is changing it in a lot of ways because while the last World Cup held here in the States was great, I think the time zones just kept it out of the imaginations of some of the cricketing world. And now you're talking about people are packing in to see some of these incredible moments happen. And so it makes me want to talk about some of our favorite moments from this World Cup. So I just put together a quick little list here. Maybe not the best moments, maybe not individually every single great moment, but just the moments that really stuck out to us. Have a look at some of our best moments here because Yuvraj Samra obviously is going to be on that list. And Sana, you said it there too. Cheyenne press conference was icing on the cake for me, talking about how the ICC, if they would just start to invest in the associates a bit more. That there's a lot of talent that could be displayed. I think we saw Saad bin Zafar say something similar. We saw folks from Oman say the same thing. So many great people talking about it and talking about the greatness of associate cricket. Nate.
Oh yeah, it was a lot of great stuff on show here. Obviously, Nepal always impressive with their fan base. Dipendra Singh Ari, absolutely phenomenal. He was one of my favorite players to watch this whole time.
Yeah, no question. I think Italy getting their first World Cup win, doing that against Nepal, 10 wicket win. That was special to watch. The brothers opening the batting together, the leg spitter who, the pizza flipping story. That's just such a kind of almost a common occurrence in associate cricket. The battles to get onto the field, and I think more and more people are realizing that. The North American youngsters, obviously something that we love. Shadley at the top. I thought even, you look at Patel and his 100 was so cool to see the Sri Lankan homeborn go and do that. Was sick, and obviously the USA holding India's hearts for 40 minutes. Just to see those moments consistently, and I will throw a couple full member shout outs out there. I think the game of the tournament was easily the South Africa Afghanistan double super over. My goodness me.
Oh, crazy.
I love watching the commentary box footage of it too. It's Dale Steyn, Danny Morrison. I forget who else was in the box. Maybe there are two others in the box, maybe one other. But oh my God, was that beautiful to watch. Danny Morrison says, we got flights to catch. And Dale Steyn's got the shades on, stressing, sweating through everything. Brilliant stuff.
Yeah, incredible stuff. Obviously, also, Andrew Leonard on commentary for the Nepal games. How great was that? Like, that was absolutely a dream right there.
Such a dream. And what I loved the most was he was a third commentator on that last little stint when Nepal ended up winning their first World Cup game in 12 years. And they initially, hit it towards the boundary. They weren't sure if it was 4 or not. And so they went to review if it was 4, and it was someone else talking. And both of those guys laid out and let Lenny have that moment. And I don't think anyone could have captured that moment better, because he knew about Bhadas, and he knew about the entire history of Nepalese cricket and the journey they went through. It's culturally grained in him now, and they love Takluna, right? That's their guy. They live and breathe Andrew Leonard. I don't know if you saw this video, but there's this video of Lenny on this giant screen out of Nepal at this watch party, and he's literally like live, like Zoom called in. I don't know how exactly they've called him in, but he's calling in and he's saying namaste and like everything, and just saying hi to the audience. And it's right before he's got to go and do some hits, and it was such a cool thing. Nepal's captured the imagination again of the cricketing world, but I think more so than just Nepal, the associates have done it, and there's more people talking about, so how do the associates play cricket? How does this work? How does that work? What's League Two? These are real conversations. Like my cousin and my family in India are talking about associate cricket. And I'm like, guys, I've been trying to tell you these things for so long, but sometimes you just have to see it. And I mean, my Lord, it was so special. Ben says, did you see Lenny's face when England beat Nepal? Yeah. I mean, it was he feels it. Like, it's not, he is so authentic about the love he feels for that country, and the love that he gets back is authentic because of the things he put into it, right? It's not just, we happen to have gone in at the right time. He's put so much blood, sweat, and tears there into living and breathing that moment, and they recognize it, and they've rallied around this guy.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, in the last World Cup, I got to spend a lot of time with Lenny down in Florida, and we both got to see him down there. And when Nepal, there was the Nepal versus South Africa game, he and I were sitting at this famous bar in Fort Lauderdale, Elbow Room, around loads of cricket people.
I couldn't go. I couldn't join them, guys. I wasn't allowed into the bar. Think about that.
Well, there were umpires.
I was 2 weeks early. I was 2 weeks too early.
It was neat. It was great, and everybody's relaxing, hanging out. And Lenny is just glued to his phone, and we're watching the Nepal versus South Africa game, and he's just like living and dying by every moment. And he would have been there if he could. If there was any chance for him to be there, he would have been there. So I was so happy for him and for us. I was happy for us, for the fans, that he got to be involved in this. And yeah, I was bummed when I saw him not on comms the last five, not on the lead comms the last 5 overs of that. And
Yeah.
I thought it was awesome that they kind of like yielded to him and let him take over right at the crucial moment. That was just a great gesture. It was great for cricket.
Yeah, again, I think it's a great value added production piece there, and obviously we're very fond of Lenny. That he's so a great friend of the channel, great mentor of mine, and so glad to see him continue to succeed and find more and more success, and people recognizing how great he is and what he does and the hard work and
Yeah.
passion he puts in to his work. And so, those are just some of our favorite moments. Let us know some of your favorite moments down there as well. There's plenty of them to choose from. Let's talk about the Super 8s. No associates will be in the Super 8s. Zimbabwe, probably the biggest surprise going in. I love the story of Zimbabwe. They haven't lost from the super regional level up until the World Cup group stage. They're the first team to do that. So they're 13 wins, 1 no result up to this point. The second team to go through from a super sub-regional into a Super 8 after Namibia did it in 2021 or 2022 rather. When you look at the groups, all the number ones are in Group 1, India, South Africa, West Indies, Zimbabwe, and all the twos are in Group 2, England, New Zealand, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka. That's courtesy of the ICC precedings, and we can have a whole big conversation about that and whether that should be or shouldn't be the case. But those groups they're competitive, and it's going to be tough to see which two come out of each.
Yeah, yeah, it's going to be incredible. I mean, you gotta tip your hat to Zimbabwe. I mean, look, how are we not going to cheer for Zimbabwe for the rest of the way? Like, I think a lot of people are going to be pulling for them. I'm thrilled with West Indies, with how good West Indies has done.
Yeah.
It's always great to me to see guys that we're familiar with playing here in the Americas region, playing in the CPL, and some guys even in minor league. And seeing them performing at this level, under Darren Sammy, who I think very highly of.
Yeah, I think also Sri Lanka, great story there. I think you think about what's happened in that country over the past couple of years. And I think just for them to be able to host this World Cup and then to have the performances they've had, not just kind of get to the group stage, but the way they've dominated it. I'm very excited to see them. We got a little bit left here. Let's move into this because I do think we talk about the associates quite a bit. We want to pick an associate squad of the tournament, and that's really just a cop out for us not to have to pick 11. So let's talk about our associate squad of the tournament. We try to get some good representation of a lot of different countries in there, but did it really off the stats. We wanted to fill roles as well. So while maybe a Ben Minetti should have been in the team or a Michael Jones maybe should have been in the team in the regular 11, it's okay, do you fit the wicketkeeper role or not? So here's what we look at here. Yuvraj Samra and Alishan Sarafu, rather, they going to open the batting alongside Basta Liddy. I think that's easy top 3 with Erasmus at 4 and your captain. Depender Singh Ariz had a great World Cup, Nate. I think he's been one of the stars of the show, and you can expect franchise leagues in his future. Rounded out by Shubham Ranjana, Shayan Jahangir, Harmeet Singh, so a USA trio. Michael Leese interrupts that as Shadivan Skalkovic comes in at 10. And then Christian Kulumayage, I think that's just awesome to have the leggy in there. And the Italian, Ben Minetti, another Italian at 12. And then Junaid Siddiqui, probably the second best associate fast bowler. Michael Jones, who is brilliant up top the order for Scotland. And then Arjen Dutt, that should say Netherlands, not the UAE attached to that. Apologize for that. But Nate, those are the 15 names we picked up.
Yeah, I mean that's a great team. This is a great team. This is the type of thing that really excites me. Picking a associate squad. Like you said, we were going to do an 11. We were like, you know what? We're just going to do a full on team, a 15-man squad, and that's what we did. And I think I'll put money on that team for sure.
Yeah, no question. I think that team's going to get some things done. Nate, this World Cup has been brilliant. It's been great to see it. While we have like 1 minute left, predictions. Give me 4 teams that are coming out of this World Cup, coming out into the semifinals.
How about this? I'll give you India's coming out for sure.
Okay.
Man, this is tough. It's tough for me to pick between Netherlands and West Indies. I'm sorry, not Netherlands, Zimbabwe and West Indies. It's tough for me to pick that one because I'd like to see both of them do well. I'm going to go with yeah. I'm saying India and West Indies on the one
Say
side.
out of Group One, I would actually go with South Africa in the West Indies. I don't think India gets out of Group One, and then I go into Group Two and I look at Sri Lanka, and I think New Zealand get their
You
way
think
through.
so?
I like New Zealand. I like what they
Oh
do there.
man, that
Well,
group one is so tough. The group one is what a tough group. This is
it's
crazy.
a tough group for sure. I would love to see Zimbabwe get through, but that'll be another conversation for another
Yeah, it's
day.
tough to
Well, that
pick
does it.
four dominant teams. I mean, what do you what? Oh, that's crazy. That's gonna be the group to watch. That's a group to watch.
Well, we'll have to recap the World Cup as it comes to a close as well. We thank you guys for joining us in the chat here and joining us throughout the entirety of the show. We had a great time. We want to thank Bob Rabelais so much for making this happen for us as well. He's done all this remotely, and we're in 3 different spots, and somehow he's made this entirely possible. So thank you so much. Want to thank the USA team just for giving us a great World Cup, giving us something to cheer about. Yes, things to improve upon, but always love watching what we saw, and the associates played phenomenally throughout. And we have one more chance to maybe see an associate beat a full member. Let's see if Oman can get it done. Until then, we thank you so much for joining us today. Stay safe, and we'll see you next time.